Welcome to the Terminal Exchange, the official podcast of Nussbaum Transportation, where we share key issues and compelling stories in the trucking industry. I'm your host, Sage Anderson, and you're listening to episode 94, Telling Stories, Lightning Strikes, Raising Rabbits, and Life with the Voorhees. Listen in as this sweet couple shares about raising rabbits, staying connected while Anthony drives, working at Nussbaum, and, of course, the one and only lightning strike accident. Listen in on this featured exchange. Well, welcome to the Terminal Exchange. We've got Anthony and Tiffany, right?
Yes.
Okay, my first question before we get started is I'd like you guys to give me one word to explain or to describe the other person.
Caring and very dependable.
Only one word.
Oh, one word. Caring.
So, caring. Okay.
Understanding.
All right. Elaborate a little bit. Why would you choose caring for her?
Caring because she cares about me even whether I'm home or when I'm on the road. You know, it doesn't matter. Even if I'm gone, she cares about me enough. I still feel like I'm home either way.
That's really sweet. Okay. And understanding because?
Because he signed up for more than just being a husband.
Aww.
He's he got a child in it too.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's really sweet. Well, yeah, so Anthony is our driver, and you've been here for how long?
It'll be 3 years in the fall.
3 years in the fall, okay. And Tiffany is his loving, supportive wife. So we're excited just to kind of get to know them, ask them some questions, talk about the opportunity cost, as some could explain, of being a driver and being away from family, and how do you make that work, and how do you work through the challenges. So excited to learn a little bit more about you guys and talk about those things. But I'd love to know, how did you guys even meet?
We've known each other for a few years. Okay. I actually met her through a friend that was already in trucking.
Okay.
And we actually were friends for, like I said, a while. And then we got to know each other better, I guess, right before COVID, right? And we, obviously fell in love with each other and got married, and the rest is history, I guess.
Okay. Okay, so you've been married for...
So we got married in, 19?
19.
So November of 2019 we got married, so.
Okay. Awesome. And then Tiffany, you said you got a boy?
Yes, Marshall.
Marshall. Any other children? Just
nope,
Marshall?
Just Marshall.
Okay. Yeah, and for those of you that don't know, we actually have a pond outside, and so Marshall is currently happily fishing right now. We did warn him; it's catch and release, so
can't take him home.
Yep. Yeah. Awesome. And so, Anthony, have you always been in the trucking industry, or?
Not always. When I first started working, I was in the agricultural industry, and I worked for Growmark.
Okay.
I think they're based out of Bloomington as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I worked out of their Manitou, Illinois location, was kind of over south between Pekin, Illinois and Havana, Illinois.
Okay.
I worked there for about 8 years.
Wow.
And I said, I want to do something different. I've always wanted to do the truck driving thing. I was like, I'm just going to do it.
Okay.
So I actually went to Star Transportation before they got shut down. They big mess and that. But I worked there for a year, and then they obviously went under. Then I went to Marvin Keller out of Sullivan, Illinois. I worked there for about five years or so.
Sure.
And it just, I decided to adopt her son and everything, and the benefits there just weren't cutting it. And I'm like, I got to find something different, and I ended up coming here to Nussbaum to make it all work out.
Yeah, awesome. And so were you were in trucking before you guys got together?
Yes.
So you were kind of aware of, okay, I'm kind of signing up for him to be away maybe a week at a time, or?
Well, I was a trucker's wife before we got together, so I knew what
the expectations
to expect, and
yeah.
So it was like nothing new,
Sure, yeah. Do you guys feel like some say like distance makes the heart grow fonder or whatever.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that rings true of like, since you don't get to physically see each other face to face during the week, maybe it's more exciting to be together?
You look forward to going home.
Sure. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Awesome. So what about you, Tiffany? Have you ever worked, or what do you like to do?
I used to drive school bus.
Okay. Yeah. So you're kind of used to large vehicles.
Yes.
Awesome. How long did you do that for?
5 or 6 years.
Okay.
Then we moved to Oquaka and
Okay.
got the opportunity to stay at home and take care of my son and
Yeah.
And the animals.
the animals and help his grandparents. So
Yeah.
So what are the animals?
Oh, shoot. What do we have?
rabbits
do we
and
have?
4 dogs.
How many rabbits do we have? 30? No?
30? Okay,
20.
so
Yeah.
why? Like, what do you do with the rabbits?
We sell them.
Sell them, and then we raise them to eat, too.
Okay. And are you selling them as, like, pets, or are you selling them as meat?
Both.
But whatever they want.
Yeah.
You don't feel a little, like, oh, you can either have as a pet or you can eat it, kind of, like, a little guilty
No,
at
I
all?
grew up on raising rabbits. So.
I'm more fond to him than he is
Sure.
because,
Yeah.
I have names for him and he's like, you don't name them if you're going to eat them.
Well, yeah, I don't know how I'd feel if I was someone's pet and then one day I knew, or like secretly I would be eaten.
I don't eat rabbits, so.
Okay. What kind of things do you make out of rabbits? Like what? Like you eating their lucky foot, or like what?
Like, you mean, like, what do we, like, how do
Like rabbit stew, like
Oh,
beef
like, we
rabbit
like-
or jerky rabbit. I don't
do
know.
it, like, in a crock pot, kind of like a roast and carrots and potatoes, but with rabbit instead.
Okay.
And
Any
then
health benefits to this, or
it's a lot leaner. It's not hardly any fat in it at all.
yeah.
So,
So when you see like a rabbit outside, are you kind of like, that looks good? Like
no. Because the wild rabbits are kind of a funky taste, kind of like wild game, you know?
Sure. I mean, deer, like,
Right.
you eat that. But I guess people don't really have pet deer. I don't know. I found out yesterday a close family friend just got her daughter a pet rabbit, and has like a leash and some outfits. So
it's an indoor rabbit.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
They're just. Is there a difference between a rabbit and a bunny? Is a bunny just like a baby rabbit,
Yeah.
or?
Yeah, it's maybe the size of your hand.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have 20 of them right now.
Okay. And is it true that they like breed super quickly?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And they're only pregnant for like a month.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our
Okay. And then
last-
how many babies does like one produce?
The one that I have now, she had 12.
Wow. Okay.
And the one before had, what, 9?
Yeah.
Is there anything difficult about raising rabbits?
Not really.
Not really. Just you have to feed and water them, and
Sure.
It's not like taking care of a cat or a dog, except obviously they're in a pen, so they don't run off.
Yeah. Wow. So how much like would you sell a rabbit for as a pet?
like 20 to about 20 because they're not. If they was pedigree, like this one breed, you can get more out of them.
Mm-hmm. But these are just kind of your average
Mixed,
rabbit.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, neat. Yeah. I didn't
And the
know.
nice thing about rabbits, too, is you don't have to have rabies tags or anything on them because they're not like a dog, obviously.
Sure.
So it's a little bit cheaper, too, in that
Okay.
aspect.
Wow, I'm like convinced now I need to raise rabbits.
We can get you started.
A little side tangent.
Yeah,
we can
got
talk
plenty.
more later. Okay, awesome. So, what about the dogs? What are your dogs?
We have 2 beagles.
Okay, are beagles like constantly kind of not
Ours
barking, but
don't. Once in a while they'll howl. Like if
they're
the-
like hound dogs,
Yeah.
kind of, right? Yeah.
But our female one likes to chase the foxes out of the yard and that.
Okay. Yeah, they're like the kind of dogs that just look kind of droopy a lot of the time, or no? That's
No,
a different
that's
one.
a hound dog.
Hound dog. Okay.
Yeah.
Beagles are more upbeat and okay.
Then we got a black lab mixed.
Okay.
He's pretty
And-
hyper because he's not even a year old.
He's a year
He is
old.
a year old, okay.
Okay.
and a wiener dog.
Okay. Yeah. Those are just funny looking. Awesome. Well, we can go a little bit back into the whole trucking aspect, right? So what, before you came to Nussbaum, what were some of the things like in moving to a different company that you get like nervous about, or what were the...
Just having to start over. It's almost like starting over again. You got to start with your benefits and everything. It's like, man, I worked so many years to get this far to what I have. And like, I'm just going back to square one. And it's just like, yeah, you're going to work for it and earn it. But it's like, man, I just don't like the idea of having to start over. It's like back to square one again.
Yeah. Yeah. But you're relatively pretty young, right? I mean, 30?
34.
34. Okay. So yeah, you still, Nussbaum has an ESOP here. And so if you're here for, 6 years, then you're fully vested in the company, and then after that just keeps
building.
Building and accumulating. But yeah, I could definitely see just kind of being frustrated, like I gotta start again, with PTO adding up and different things like that. But
yeah.
As for like what opportunities we have here, it seems like you've jumped into any single one that you can.
Everything they keep throwing at me, I'm like, sure, I'll try it.
So what, we've got a trainer,
right?
Road captain.
I'm
Certified ride.
Yeah, certified red, platinum driver, obviously.
Okay.
I've been in a few trucks and I've been here since the lightning strike. So
okay, yeah. For those
you guys
of you
do a little clip on that
don't know, your truck was struck by lightning.
Yeah.
And then what happened to the truck after?
It basically fried the computers in it. I couldn't use cruise control or anything. It took a direct hit.
But you also have a superpower now. So yeah. I'm just kidding. He doesn't.
I guess you could put it that way.
I don't know if anyone's familiar with like Spider-Man or whatever. You get bit by a spider. But all right, tell us what it was like when lightning struck.
Basically, I was driving along down the interstate in Wisconsin, and all of a sudden, literally, the lightning, I would guess it hit the solar panel and came down the windshield and went across the hood and into the smart drive radar on the front bumper. It was so bright. It was like a good 4 seconds before I could see anything. It literally blinded me.
Wow.
Yeah. And
you don't feel like you have any sort of like power from that?
Unfortunately, no.
No, that's incredible. Were you like by any other vehicles that you were scared like you could have hit something?
Because it was raining so hard. I was trying to stay away from other vehicles because the visibility was already pretty poor.
Sure. Yeah. Wow.
But I remember calling into the office. They're like, "You're kidding." I'm like, "No, I am not kidding." And I'm like, every light on the dash came on. It hit the computer, and basically it took the part smart out, the cruise control. I think it even took the radio out.
So could you drive over 65 miles per hour after that?
I could still drive after I got out of the storm, yes.
But like, because the trucks are governed, so like, was your governed?
It didn't hit that.
Okay.
No, I wasn't that lucky.
It still wasn't like, all right, let's go 80.
But no, it was quite the experience. I'm like, I hope that's a once in a lifetime deal because I don't want to go through that again. Is
the saying lightning doesn't strike twice, or what is that?
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah, well, it does, but
yeah. I
actually knew a family, their house got struck by lightning twice, and both times all of their appliances quit on them. So
just hit them all.
Luckily, that's it's nice that you're a company driver. It's not your truck,
right?
So,
yeah, I remember talking to Dalton when I got back. He was just in total disbelief. He's like, We're gonna have to turn this into insurance. I'm like, well, I'm sorry. He's like, it's not your fault. Just we don't have this happen every day.
Yeah. Yep.
So, yeah, it was pretty wild. And that was within the first year of being here, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, are you scared of inclement weather when you're driving?
The winds scare me a little bit. That's about the only thing that gets me is the high winds, especially if it's a light load. I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna risk it.
Sure. So what do you do if you're on the road and all of a sudden, the winds pick up, like just come out of nowhere?
I just call in and say, hey, I'm going to see what happens over the next couple hours, and if it doesn't calm down, I'm just going to call it good for the day and see what tomorrow morning looks like.
So what if you're like you have 100 miles to go and there's nowhere to stop, or like what do you?
Well, obviously I'll take. Surely there's something within 100. Generally there is.
Okay.
But obviously I'll slow it down and take my time and safely get there. Because we can't park on the side of the road, obviously, because that's just then you're a hazard to other vehicles.
Yep.
So.
Am I making this up, or can you park underneath bridges?
No.
No. Okay.
That's a pretty bad idea because you're still technically on the side of the road.
Okay. Under the bridge, though.
Yeah. Yeah, but you still be a hazard.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. Have you ever been in like a inclement weather situation that you couldn't get out of? Like.
Well, the lightning strike, when it literally stayed on top of me for like an hour and a half. I couldn't get out of it.
Okay.
It poured. I mean, it rained so hard I could only run about 30 miles an hour, if that.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably the worst thing I've been in, other than the winds.
Sure. Yeah. So are you kind of a worrywart, like when this is happening to him? Are you like?
At the beginning, when I first became a trucker's wife, I was, every little thing. Oh, somebody like, call. Are you okay? Where are you?
Mm-hmm.
But no, we're pretty much on like the same. He'll call me and say, "Hey, I'm hitting bad weather," and
Yeah.
Gonna call it quits. I'm done for the day.
Okay. And you find that that's completely okay here? Like, it's your call if it's...
I've never had anybody tell me no.
Okay. That's good.
And we just figure it out the next day. If everything's good to go again, weather-wise, I'll just say I'll get it there when I can.
Yep.
That's all you can do.
Good. Awesome. So, Tiffany, how do you like to spend your week, or what kind of things do you like to do while he's out on the road?
Taking care of my, whatever my son has going on.
Sure.
Help his grandparents out.
Yeah.
Because they live like 5 blocks from us.
Oh, neat. Okay. Yeah. And your son likes to fish, like
Anything
school?
outdoors.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's my outdoor kid.
That's good. Because
Yeah.
especially in this day and age where video games and TVs and screens and all that stuff, to be outside is probably really, really refreshing. So that's awesome. So how do you feel about like when things at your house like need to be repaired and he's gone? Like, who do you go for help? Do you just wait on it? Do you know how to do
It just depends
it?
what it is.
Yeah.
I use YouTube a lot.
Okay.
On how to do. Or I call my dad. I'm like, okay, Dad, walk me through this over the phone.
Yeah. Yeah. Any examples of something going wrong that you're like, oh.
The hot water heater went out
Ooh.
one night.
Okay.
I went down. I'm like, okay, I can try to relight this, and I went and relight. So I called my dad. He's like, well, take a picture of it. So I took a picture of it and then called him back, and he's like, try this, and it wouldn't light. So it's usually I call like the plumber or something
Sure.
to come fix it.
Yeah.
And luckily we have a plumber in town that's close, so...
That's so nice.
Yeah, they are a 24-hour call, so...
Wow.
Which is, for a little town of 1,200 people, it's kind of rare to have something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So did you wake that person up in the middle of the night?
No, I waited.
You could always boil hot water on the stove and then like...
Yeah.
You actually
Mix
did
it.
for a day, didn't you?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I spent 3 months or whatever in Nepal, and there was no hot water, or there's no water heaters, so that's how we would have to like bathe ourselves, is we'd have to boil some water and mix it with regular water, so it's not too bad. But yeah, there's always little shortcuts that you can take. So aside from that, what are some ways that you guys stay connected on the road, whether it's like we have a phone call at 10 a.m. or
Phone calls.
Phone calls, yeah.
When he
Video
stops
chat.
at night, we video chat.
Okay.
Yeah, that depends how good the signal is, too. Sometimes it's just a phone call.
Sure.
So...
Yeah. And what about like in the mornings, or do you try to call each other before you start
It
your
depends
day?
on how early in the day I'm starting. Usually if it's 2 or 3 in the morning, yeah, I'm not calling home.
And what about if you have a student with you?
I don't know. I call, if she really needs something, she calls.
Yeah.
But I try to call like towards the end of the day,
Okay.
just so that way the student can have their own time to make a call, and then I we can just kind of get away a little bit and just, talk on the phone at home.
Sure. Yeah. How do you feel about, because you'll have a student with you for about a week at a time at least?
Sometimes a month.
Sometimes a month. Okay. What is that like, sharing your space?
It can be cramped, but I see it as, I actually enjoy it because you have to have somebody to visit with while you're on the road, which is nice. And at the same time, you're helping them learn a new career as well, which I really enjoy doing it, honestly. And it's fun to see them from week 1 to week 4 of how much they have grown as a driver, too.
Yeah. Do you find they're pretty polite and well-mannered, or?
I honestly haven't had any issues with anybody that I've had so far. Everyone's been really easy to work with.
Ballpark, you've had 5, 6, something like?
I would say maybe 7 or 8.
Okay.
But that's kind of a guess.
Sure.
It's around that number.
Yeah. You want to give a shout-out to anyone in particular that you really connected
that
with?
I worked with?
Or any of your students, I don't know. You don't have to, but...
No, not really.
Okay. All right. Maybe we'll cut this part out. Let's see. What are some memorable moments with your students? Something that stuck out to you?
Well, when I had Felix, I don't know if you know Felix or not. He is from Haiti.
Yeah.
And I think he said he'd been in the United States when I first met him, I think a year or 2, I can't remember. And he had never been out of the Midwest other than flying back home, to the airport or something.
Sure.
And he actually went out to, I believe, we went to Washington State and then down to Oregon and then back.
Wow.
And we actually got caught up in a blizzard in North Dakota, and we sat there for a day waiting for them to get the roads cleared. So he's like, how do you do this? I'm like, it's just part of the job, but you have to wait it out.
Yeah.
If the roads are closed, we can't leave.
Yep.
And I think we got over a foot of snow overnight where we parked. So we were literally snowed in.
Sure. Yeah. I'm guessing traveling in Haiti, sometimes they deal with mudslides, or maybe I'm making that up.
He said that Haiti, obviously, it's not a very big country. He said the traffic down there is pretty bad because there's a lack of infrastructure and roads.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I recently had some family friends travel there, and they said it's not surprising to see a family of 5 on a motorcycle.
Really?
So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, which is similar to Nepal. That, again, there's just not really any sort of traffic regulation.
Right.
And it's extremely hard as a pedestrian to cross the road because there's no there's no crosswalks or anything like that. So,
and the nice thing about having Felix with me is I actually got to try some of his Haitian cooking, which was really good.
Oh, that's so neat. So did he cook in the truck, or was it pre-made
he brought
things?
it with him and reheated it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Any meals that you remember, or do they have different names?
He ate a lot of rice and beans. I do. I guess that's popular there. And a lot of different types of chicken.
Yeah.
Done different ways.
Yeah. That's neat. So do you usually do you pack his meals, or do you guys
make his meals?
Okay. So what?
And sometimes if he has students, I'll make extra.
Okay, that's really sweet. What kind of meals do you like on the road, or do you like to make?
I'll do a chili dog casserole, which is good. It's got the cornbread on the top.
Oh, okay.
I like homemade chicken and noodles. Just down home cooking food.
Yeah. Yep.
Probably not the healthiest, but hey, it's got to taste good.
Cornbread, there's nothing like cornbread. I made fruit pizza last night. That stuff is
addicting.
Yeah. So I'm going to have to bring it in if it's still at the house, because it's just too dangerous to keep around when something's that good. So do you ever get the chance to ride together in the truck, or since you also have Marshall, maybe it's difficult?
Not really.
Not really anymore.
Okay. Have you ever?
Yeah.
Okay.
When I still worked for Marvin Kelly, we went down to Texas one week.
Okay.
And we had some good barbecue and stuff that week. It was fun.
Yeah. When you're riding in the truck with him, are you kind of this feels like a confined space, I want to get out of here, or you
Not
just
really.
relaxed? And
it's just different to see
sure,
different stuff, and
Yeah. How does it feel to be in such a small space and then come home for the weekend? Is it like super exciting of like, oh, I have a normal sized bed and
Honestly, I kind of get used to being in the truck because you're in there 98% of the time, you know.
Wow.
So getting at home, sleeping at home, yeah, it's great. There's more room in that, but you get used to sleeping in one area too because you're there majority of the time.
Yeah, it's probably a lot easier to take care of your space and manage it too because it's so small.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you how do you shift gears from like, okay, he's going to be gone this week. Maybe you have plans or something and then the load is late or there's traffic and he doesn't make it home in time. Like, how do you work around those?
Anymore, when we have like something to go to, like a family get together, I'll be like, I don't know if he's coming or not, but we just go on with our plans, and if he's there, that's great, and if he's not,
I tried.
Yeah. Okay. So that's easy for you guys just to kind of live and let
Sometimes,
go.
depending on the family thing, sometimes they can be a little disappointed. Oh man, I wish I could have made it, but it is what it is too.
So I have just always wondered that with drivers of like something, they miss it to some special event that they wanted to get to. Like, does that immediately make you think like I might want to quit? Like, or is it just kind of
really.
like you understand and
it can, like I said, it can be frustrating, but I'm like I really don't want to leave here. I really enjoy the way everybody treats us and all, and just I have no reason to go anywhere.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes you're like, hey, since you're going, can you fix me a plate? Because I really want.
I mean, that's really what it all comes down to. Is
Right.
I'll take the leftovers next week.
So what do you guys makes this job worth it? Like, why trucking? Why Nussbaum? Why be away from family for this long?
Nussbaum for me was because my ex-husband worked here.
Okay.
And it feels more like a family
Sure.
than a big company that only knows you by your truck number.
Yeah.
And I know I have that peace of mind. If I can never get a hold of him and something's happened at home, I can pick up the phone and call here, and they can get him a message or get him routed home.
And they actually did that once. They routed me home when she was sick.
Oh. Okay.
And luckily, I was in the Quad Cities, I think, so I was only an hour or so from home, and that was like on a Wednesday, I think. And I had Roger at the time, and I said, hey, this is what's going on. He said, okay, get him. I was already getting unloaded, so he's like, all right, when you're empty, go home. And then he called me, I think, the next day, and he's like, asking how my wife is doing that, and he's like, just don't rush to come back. Whenever you're ready to come back, call us. No. I'm like, wow.
Yeah. Wow. That's really good to hear. So have you ever been on the flip side of like there was a driver that was sick and you had to pick up the load for them?
Oh, yeah, I've done it a few times.
Okay.
Or they had to get home for a family emergency.
Sure. So what does that look like? You just are on like a secret mission?
I look at it this way, I would want the person to do the same thing for me.
Yep.
So it everything works together that way.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Do you guys have any just like goals in general of like, we're working here at Nussbaum and this is what our goal for our future, or anything you feel like this job helps you achieve?
Well, it helped me get our house.
Okay.
Because if I hadn't been here, I wouldn't have been able to move to Aquaco where we're at. I wouldn't be able to afford to do that.
Sure.
So I guess that was our biggest goal.
Yeah.
And we couldn't afford me staying at home.
Yeah.
Sure. Wow. Okay, so that's really valuable. You got, I don't know if this was like your dream house or what.
It's close.
Mine, yes.
I mean, it is a nice house.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. But it's like twice as big as the house we were in, so it's a little more to take care of, obviously.
Yeah. That's what I always think. If we are like considering a bigger house or anything, it's just like, oh my, more rooms to clean.
Right.
But
And when we found a house, we were blessed at the time because we found it right kind of towards the end of COVID where the mortgage rates were still really low. So we got locked in before they shot up.
wow.
So that's been a blessing too. I'm like, man, I'm glad we didn't wait,
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. That's awesome. So what are some things that you guys like to do together as a family on the weekends when you're together?
sometimes we like just to get in the car and take a short trip somewhere.
You want to do more driving after you've just been.
Well, it's usually me driving.
Yeah.
It's like I drove all week. You can
it's your
drive.
turn.
So it's me driving.
Okay.
But sometimes I'll drive partway back home.
Sure.
We like to go. Well, obviously, we're near 3 states, 4 states. Wisconsin. We're not as close to Wisconsin, but we're not that far either. But we're obviously 20 minutes from Iowa, and maybe an hour from Missouri. So.
Because you live in the town of Oquawka.
Oquawka, yeah.
It's a really strange name. I'm just gonna say it.
I think it's a Native American name.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds like it could be a neat middle name. Sage Oquawka Anderson. I don't know, but anyways. So you also mentioned like boating.
Yeah.
You guys like to do that. Okay.
Yeah, in the summertime, obviously now we like to go out. Well, last weekend it was kind of cold, believe it or not, but we like to go out, try to make it out for at least a couple hours on the weekend.
Sure.
Either go for a ride or just go to the beach and hang out or something.
Is this like a little pontoon boat or river boat? Like what
It's
kind
a
of?
pontoon. Bigger, it's like
Pontoon.
24-foot pontoon boat.
Okay. Just you 3, or you invite other friends and
We
family?
invite my grandparents, but they're getting up there in the age where they just don't want to really do it anymore. They say, well, you guys can go, we're staying home. Like,
Yeah.
okay, we offered.
Okay. Well, that's what matters.
Yep.
Well, neat. Anything else that you guys wanted to add or talk about, or?
I don't know. Anything?
It's just balancing the house and him being gone.
Yeah.
Sometimes it can be stressful.
Yeah. I could definitely imagine that.
And it's stressful for me, like hot water heater goes out or something like that happens, and I'm on the road. I'm like, I can't do anything about it other than, give this person a call or something.
Mm-hmm.
And that can be stressful at times. Like, man, I wish I could just be there to get it, fix it myself.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, any advice that you guys would give to just couples that are just in the same situation? The wife's at home trying to take care of the house, husband's gone for a week at a time. Like, what practical advice would you give?
I just take one day at a time, and whatever happens, and you just pray that your significant other is safe out in the road. And
Mm-hmm.
And I would say this, whatever comes up, always try your best to work through it.
Yeah.
It's always worth it in the end.
Yeah.
Usually 99% of the time, it's always worth it to get through it.
Yep. And when life gives you lemons, get rabbits. Right?
Right.
Sorry. I'm sorry, that's
Yeah,
wrong.
rabbits make everything better, Sage.
it does.
No, that's so neat that you guys have that hobby together, and that you guys got to have the house by your grandparents, and we're just very glad you're here.
And moving up there, they've done a lot more for themselves too. They actually bought a new house after we moved up there. So if we hadn't moved up there to help them, I don't think they would have done it, because they really needed a new home. So the other one was getting pretty old.
Yeah. Well, neat. Well, thank you guys so much. I hope Marshall's out there, and I hope he caught plenty of fish. But yeah, we'll let you guys get back to it, and thanks.
All right, thank you, Sage.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, this is Caleb from Nussbaum Recruiting, and I'd love to answer any questions you have about driving with us. Give us a call at 309-268-1199 or visit nussbaumjobs.com. Hope to talk to you soon. You've been listening to Terminal Exchange, the official podcast of Nussbaum Transportation. If you're enjoying our content, please leave us a review. Your reviews help us spread the word about these important topics and invite more people into the conversation. You can rate and review us on your podcast app or visit us online at terminalexchange.org. New episodes arrive every other Tuesday, so be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. You can also follow Nussbaum on your favorite social media platforms and be the first to know when new episodes are released. Thanks for listening. Until next time, own every moment and stay purpose-driven.